All right, we're gonna pick up on the reading where we left off last time, and we were introduced to a new speaker or a new character in the story, and this was Mr. Pearson. And we said that Mr. Pearson is um, basically the person responsible for pinning on numbers and getting the runners ready for the May Day race. Okay, so then here it comes, Mr. Pearson. All right, so we're on this page. If you can have your literature books ready with me so that we can follow. And we're trying to finish this story this week, inshallah. So we only have a bit left over, a few pages to go. Okay, so inshallah we'll be able to get through. All right, then here he comes, Mr. Pearson, with his clipboard and his cards and pencils, and whistles and safety pins, and 50 million other things he's always dropping all over the place with his clumsy self. All right, clumsy is someone who's basically always dropping things, always doing something wrong. He sticks out in a crowd because he's on stilts. And stilts are these long things that people wear to make them taller. All right, so I'll show you guys like an image of it. All right, I'm gonna show you a picture. And this is kind of like the image that stilts, okay? Like these wooden sticks that make people stick out taller than the rest of the crowd, all right? Or maybe something like this. Okay, so these are stilts, all right? These things that make that you could stand on. It makes you taller, and that's why Squeaky's saying that he's standing out in the crowd, or that he's more obvious than the rest because he's standing on these stilts. Okay, so he's standing on stilts, which makes we used to call him Jack and the Beanstalk to get him mad. But I'm the only one that can outrun him and get away, and I'm too grown for that silliness now. In this sentence right here, we call him Jack and the Beanstalk to get him mad. What kind of literary term is this? Who could I'm gonna give you a chance to unmute yourself. Who could give me an answer to this question? What kind of literary term do we see on line 150? We used to call him Jack and the Beanstalk to get him mad. Reem, do you have an answer?
I'm not sure.
Okay, are you guys familiar with Jack and the Beanstalk? It's a book. You guys might have read it when you guys were younger, like in grade 1 with Mr. Yusha. If you
Yes, it
had.
will be illusion.
Yeah, it is an allusion. It's a reference to a book, a children's book. Okay, if you guys remember Jack and the Beanstalk, the boy that won up. I'm gonna share the image with you again. This is Jack and the Beanstalk. It's a children's book. It's a children's story about a young boy that climbed up a very tall tree called it's the beanstalk. All right, so here she's basically making reference to his height as in being tall and high like this tree that the boy climbed. Maybe some of you guys have read the story and you're familiar with it. Maybe not. Okay, so I need you to go back to your illusion. I need you to go please back to your illusions pictures, sheets rather, and you guys should have one more blank available. Is that correct? Okay, so please go and fill in your charts now with the final example of an illusion that is provided in the story or used in the story. All right, put the page number, copy the phrase. We used to call him Jack and the Beanstalk to get him mad. All right, this sentence right here, copy it in the example. And can someone explain the significance of this illusion one more time? What is it referring to? Okay, so we're gonna write down that it's a yes, sure.
It refers to the story that's called Jan and then
Jack.
Jack, or I don't know what's his name.
Jack and the
That he was
Beanstalk.
climbing. Jack and the Beanstalk. He was climbing trees, and he was told the story. This illusion refers to the story.
Good. All right. So it's a literary and a literary reference. All right. So I'm gonna type that for you just in case you All right. So again, it's a literary reference to a children's book. Okay, and basically the significance of it is to highlight the height of Mr. Pearson. All right, so they used to nickname him that, okay, to highlight his or to criticize or make fun almost of Mr. Pearson's height due to the fact that he wears stilts. Okay, so I hope that you guys are done with that. All right, well, Squeaky, he says, checking my name off the list and handing me a number 7 and 2 pins. Okay, and I'm thinking he's got no right to call me Squeaky if I ain't call him Beanstalk. Okay, so is she happy with him calling her Squeaky? Can someone explain? Maya?
No, she's not.
Okay, Reem, explain why.
Because she don't call him Jack and the Beanstalk to not make him mad, so he has to call her by her real name.
Good.
Not
All right.
Squeaky.
Good. So she feels a little disrespected. Okay. She's about to enter the race, and we know that her attitude about running and the race is very serious. Okay. So she feels that she needs to be respected, and she wants to feel that she's being given that respect by using her proper full name and not the nickname that they use on the streets to call her. All right, and so she feels offended by that. Okay, so again, it's a reflection to her attitude about running. Okay, this is how she feels about the situation, the entire race. She's taking it seriously. Okay, so she's entering the race with a very serious attitude to the point where she doesn't want Mr. Pearson to even use a nickname while calling her or using her name. Okay, she wants him to use her proper full name as a form of respect and to reflect on how serious she is with the race, how seriously she's taking it. Okay, so please remember that. She tells him, Hazel Elizabeth Deborah Parker. I correct him and tell him to write it down on his board. Well, Hazel Elizabeth Deborah Parker, going to give someone else a break this year? I squint at him real hard to see if he's seriously thinking I should lose the race on purpose just to give someone else a break. Only six girls running this time, he continues, shaking his head sadly like it's my fault. Okay, so remember how I told you guys earlier that we're not gonna be introduced to her real name except toward the end of the story, and this is exactly what I'm talking about. So just make a little note of this is her real name, and this is where it appears when she's telling Mr. Pearson that he should use it to call her name with, to call her by. All right, and of course he also says something else that offends her. So Mr. Pearson is basically getting on her nerves. The first mistake he does was call her Squeaky. And what is the second thing that he says that upsets her or gets her mad or aggravated?
That there are only 6 girls the only 6 girls are going to race.
Okay, oh, he does mention that, but what really it's not this line that makes her that aggravates her. What is it that he
Please,
says?
can you repeat your question?
What does Mr. Pearson do other than call her Squeaky? Okay, so the first thing that he does that makes Squeaky mad is that he calls her Squeaky. There's something else that he says that really annoys her or bothers her. What is that something else? Fadia said that this quote right here made her mad. Okay, that's not exactly it.
Like,
Say?
Oh, I'm sorry, I cannot hear you guys because you guys are talking over each other. So one person at a time. Hannah, you want to
Miss
say
Ka-
something?
Going to give someone else a break this year?
Exactly. Good. This is the exactly what he said that upset her because what he's really asking or what he's indirectly stating is the fact that he wants someone else to win. All right, that he wants her to lose or he's asking her to lose on purpose. Okay, this is exactly how she understood it. All right, you're asking me to lose on purpose so that I could give someone else a chance to win. So she, of course, this is definitely something that is unacceptable to Squeaky. Okay, and this is a picture of Raymond. All right, um, this is what basically the illustration here shows the boy in the swing, and we know that this boy in the swing was Raymond, waiting for his sister to finish the race so that he can so that they could, so he could go home. All right. So shaking his head sadly, like it's my fault. All of New York did not turn out in sneakers. That new girl should give you a run for your money. He looks around the park for Gretchen like a periscope in a submarine movie. Wouldn't it be a nice gesture if you were to I give him such a look he couldn't finish putting that idea into words. Grown-ups got a lot of nerve sometimes. I pin number 7 to myself and I stomp away. I'm so burnt. And I go straight for the track and stretch out on the grass while the band winds up the "Oh, the monkey wrapped his tail around the flagpole," which my teacher calls by some other name. The man on the loudspeaker is calling everyone over to the track, and I'm on my back looking at the sky trying to pretend I'm in the country, but I cannot because even grass in the city feels hard as sidewalk, and there's just no pretending you are anywhere but in a concrete jungle, as my grandfather says. Okay, so here, the person on the speaker, again, he's basically telling her to let Gretchen win. He couldn't even finish the sentence because she gave him such a tough look, all right? And now she's prepping herself to relax and get herself focused because the race is about to start. The 20-yard dash takes all of 2 minutes because most of the little kids do not know better than to run off the track or run the wrong way or run smack into the fence and fall down and cry. All right, so the 20-yard dash is the one for the younger kids. All right, she's saying that, of course, kids are very young. They're unable to run efficiently. One little kid, though, has got the good sense to run straight for the white ribbon up ahead, so he wins. Then the second graders line up for the 30-yard dash, and I don't even bother to turn my head to watch because Rafael Perez always wins. He wins before he even begins by psyching the runners, telling them they're going to trip on their shoelaces and fall on their faces or lose their shorts or something, which he doesn't really have to do since he's very fast, almost as fast as I am. After that is the 40-yard dash, which I used to run when I was in first grade. Raymond is hollering from the swings because he knows I'm about to do my thing, because the man on the loudspeaker had just announced the 50-yard dash. Although he might just as well be giving a recipe for angel food cake because you can hardly make out what he's saying for the static. Okay, so she's here. The purpose of this paragraph is to give us the order or the sequence of the races. They start out with the 20, then they go into the 30, then the 40, and the final is the 50. This is supposed to be the longest one. And Raymond is hollering. Hollering is another word for, screaming or, being loud. Okay, because he heard the man on speaker saying the 50-yard dash is about to start, and that is a sign, or he knows that his sister is about to go. All right, so we see that Raymond is focused and he's alert of actually what's happening. Okay, I get up and slip off my sweatpants, and then I see Gretchen standing at the starting line, kicking her legs out like a pro. All right. So I need you to make note here that this is the first time for Squeaky to actually say something positive about Gretchen. Okay. Earlier, we saw her give all these reasons to why Gretchen could never win, and how Gretchen could basically never compete with Squeaky, and that she's certain that Gretchen has absolutely no chance of winning. So here we see Squeaky giving props. Okay, she's actually referring to Gretchen as a pro, and a pro is like a professional, someone who's good at something. All right. So here we see the first time for Squeaky to say something positive. Okay, she sees Gretchen. Stretching and getting warming up before the race, and kicking her legs like a pro. So she's actually giving her credit for being good at something. Then, as I get into place, I see that old Raymond, okay, is online on the other side of the fence, bending down with his fingers on the ground, just like he knew what he was doing. All right, so of course, this is very scary because we don't know what to expect from Raymond. So Raymond is out of the swing. Remember, we saw him here in the swing. Now that the race is about to start, Raymond has done something pretty crazy. He got off the swing and now he's standing on the other side of the fence, okay, online, squatting down, crouching, as if he's getting into the position of about to start the race. Okay, I was going to yell at him, but then I didn't. It burns up your energy to holler. All right, so of course, Squeaky is probably very nervous and very angry that that Raymond is doing this. Okay, she wants to scream at him, I guess, to tell him. She would probably tell him to get back into the swings, or to sit down, or to stop whatever he's doing. But she decides not to because she wants to save her energy for the run, not for screaming. Every time just before I take off in a race, I always feel like I'm in a dream. The kind of dream you have when you're sick with fever and feel all hot and white and weightless. I dream I'm flying over a sandy beach in the early morning sun, kissing the leaves of the trees as I fly by. And there's always the smell of apples, just like in the country when I was little, and used to think I was a choo-choo train, running through the fields of corn and chugging up the hill to the orchard. All the time I'm dreaming this, I get lighter and lighter until I'm flying over the beach again, getting blown through the sky like a feather that weighs nothing at all. But once I spread my fingers in the dirt and crouch over that get on your mark, the dream goes and I'm solid again and I'm telling myself, Squeaky, you must win. You must win. You're the fastest thing in the world. You can even beat your father up Amsterdam if you really try. And then I feel my weight coming back just behind my knees, then down to my feet, and then into the earth, and the pistol shot explodes in my head, in my blood, and I'm off and weightless again, flying past the other runners, my arms pumping up and down, and the whole world is quiet except for the crunch as I zoom over the gravel in the track. I glance to my left and there's no one. To the right, a blurred Gretchen. All right, so now the race has started. Squeak is zooming by. Okay, she's dreaming. She's putting herself in this dream as if she's like a feather, just very weightless, very fast. And every time she looks back or she takes a quick glance to her right or her left, she sees that Gretchen is actually keeping up. Okay, who's got her chin jutting out as if it would win the race all by itself. And on the other side of the fence is Raymond, with his arms down to his side and the palms tucked up behind him, running in his very own style. And it's the first time I ever saw that, and I almost stopped to watch my brother Raymond on his first run. But the white ribbon is bouncing toward me, and I tear past it, racing into the distance till my feet, with a mind of their own, start digging up footfuls of dirt and break me short. Then all the kids standing on the side pile on me, banging me on the back and slapping my head with their Mayday programs. For I have won again, and everybody on 151st Street can walk tall for another year. All right. So what does Squeaky see that makes her very amazed or proud of her brother? What is Raymond doing
That
then?
he,
Mm-hmm.
running like
He's running for the first time.
Good. All right. So he's actually putting up and he's keeping up with the race just like she is. Okay. She is, he's doing a very good job, and she's amazed. Okay. He has his own running style, with his hands folded behind him. But in general, she's very proud that he was actually able to keep up with her and to run such a long distance on his own. All right, so she's very proud of him, and here she claims that she has won. Okay, now it's time for the announcer to mention the winners on the speaker. In first place, the man on the speaker is clear as a bell now, but then he pauses and the loudspeaker starts to whine, then static. And I lean down to catch my breath, and here comes Gretchen walking back, for she's overshot the finish line too, huffing and puffing, with her hands on her hips, taking it slow, breathing in steady time like a real pro. And I sort of like her a little for the first time. In first place, and then three or four voices get all mixed up on this loudspeaker, and I dig my sneaker into the grass and stare at Gretchen, who starts staring back. We both wondering just who did win. So here the author is adding a little suspense by, the announcement. Okay, as readers, we're all waiting to see who is the first place winner. All right, because we know that Squeaky went by. She got the white ribbon, but also Gretchen was right behind her. So it could be a matter of, or the difference could be a matter of seconds. Okay, so here every time the person is about to announce the first place winner, first it was staticky, there's something wrong with the voice. Now here we see that there's some type of disagreement. Okay, three or four voices get all mixed up. Okay, so that means people are arguing. Okay, like people are talking about something. Maybe it's not clear to them who is the first place winner. There's some undecisiveness on who got the first place. All right, but here we already noticed a change in Squeaky. Okay, and this is what we call an epiphany. If you guys remember from our literary terms, the epiphany here is that we see that there's something that just happens. What is the change that Squeaky sees in herself? Who could tell me? Or that Squeaky realizes about herself? Ahmed Rashwan, please.
Can you repeat the question?
What is the change that Squeaky notices about herself now? She mentions that here that she notices something about herself. What is the change?
Minute.
Look here.
She sounds like a real pro, يعني.
Right, okay, we already mentioned that she started to admit that Gretchen is a professional runner. Okay, so that's definitely a first thing. But what about their feelings? In the beginning, were they friends? Did they like each other, or they considered each other's enemies because of the of this competitive race that they're facing? So here, Squeaky realizes something about herself, and she admits it. She says, "What? I sort of like her a little for the first time." This is your epiphany, okay? This is when the character admits to have changed, okay, in their feelings, in their emotions, in their behavior, and so on. Okay.
Oh.
All right. So here, I is referring to Squeaky. She's your narrator. Her is referring to Gretchen. So this is an open admission. She's admitting that I sort of like her for a little for the first time. So here we see a change in Squeaky's attitude, a change in her behavior and her emotions toward Gretchen. Okay, it's not of animosity and competition anymore. She's starting the race. She has already been calling her a professional. All right, she's actually admiring the way that she's kicking up her feet or her legs, how she's warming up. She's also admiring the way that she's breathing steady, okay, like a professional. So she's here giving her, she's giving her good comments, all right, or admiring the way that Gretchen, values running, okay, or she gets herself ready and prepared. All right. So here again, we see this is the epiphany. Okay. So we saw that here the voices are arguing over something. All right. We're both wondering who just did win. Who won first place? This is the question now. I can hear old Beanstalk, this is Mr. Pearson, arguing with the man on the loudspeaker, and then a few others running their mouths about what the stopwatch says. So there's a little argument in the stopwatch about who won first. Then I hear Raymond yanking at the fence to call me, and I have to shush him. But he keeps rattling the fence like a gorilla in a cage, like in them gorilla movies. But then, like a dancer or something, he starts climbing up nice and easy, but very fast. And it occurs to me, watching how smoothly he climbs hand over hand, and remembering how he looked running with his arms down to his side, and with the wind pulling his mouth back and his teeth showing and all, it occurred to me that Raymond would make a very fine runner. Doesn't he always keep up with me on my trots when she exercises, when she goes for those walks? He's able to keep up with her. And he surely knows how to breathe in counts of 7 because he's always doing it at the dinner table, which drives my brother George up the wall. And I'm smiling to beat the band because I have lost this race, or if me and Gretchen tied, or even if I have won, I can always retire as a runner and begin a whole new career as a coach with Raymond as my champion. After all, with a little more study, I can beat Cynthia and her phony self at the spelling bee. And if I bugged my mother, I could get piano lessons and become a star. And I have a big rep as the baddest thing around. And I have got a room full of ribbons and medals and awards. But what has Raymond got to call his own? All right. So is Squeaky really concerned about the announcement? Does she care what the ending result of the race will be, or what is she more concerned about now? Who could explain?
Can I answer?
Please.
Squeaky, after she saw Raymond
Good.
climbing
The fence.
the fence, smoothly but very fast, she realized that she could be a coach with Raymond by her side.
Good. All right. So she's not worried about herself anymore. Okay. Remember in the beginning, Squeaky was very self-centered. And by self-centered, we mean by a person who only values or thinks about themselves. She viewed Raymond as a burden, someone who's embarrassing, someone that she has to protect all the time, someone who she has to explain his actions to the public or, apologize for and for his behaviors, someone who gets her in trouble at home. And she was always about me, me, me. I'm the winner. I'm the baddest thing. I'm this. I'm that. She couldn't even give Gretchen any credit for being a good runner. So now we see a big shift in her mentality and even how she views herself. Okay, so she's not very concerned about herself anymore. Like Reem said, she's more concerned about her brother and his abilities and his capabilities because she saw now a side of Raymond that she has never seen before. All right, that existed, but she was blinded to. She just admitted that she should have known this all along because he's able to keep up with her running, with her trots, with her exercises on Broadway. Okay, so she here admits to that. There's less than 1 minute left. We're gonna wrap up the story, okay, and then we're gonna meet up next session at 11 exactly. This is gonna end now. We're gonna finish reading the last paragraph to get the resolution, and then we will move on to answering the study guide questions maybe